Hello everyone, it's Nick here again with Nick's 80's Hard Rock CD collection. Hope everyone's doing well. The band we're going to look at today is a band that came from Chicago, and they released their first album in the late 80s, 1989, so they're a bit late on the scene, but the band is called NUFF. Enough's Enough. Now, I don't know whether a lot of people have heard about this band. They weren't as big as Guns N' Roses or Motley Crue by any standards, but they were a well-received band. Now, this album here, self-titled, it was released in 1989, and it received, well, there was two hit songs. One was New Thing, and the other one was called Fly High Michelle. Now, these two songs, they did not too bad in the charts, but they received a lot of airplay on MTV, and that's what got this band noticed. And a lot of critics have actually described them as sounding a little bit like the Beatles. Now, personally, I'm not really a fan of the Beatles. I got a lot of respect for the Beatles, but I don't listen to their music. So yeah, people describe them as a sort of like a power pop version of the Beatles. So there you go. But we'll introduce the band members first. Okay, so on drums we've got Vic Fox. On guitar was Derek Frigo. Now I use the past tense was. Derek died in 2004. It's quite tragic circumstances. I won't go into that though. Now Donnie V, who was the lead vocalist, rhythm guitarist, and he also did play keyboards. And Chip Zanoff, who was a bass player, and he also played guitars as well on the album as well. Yeah, so it was actually well received, and there was even the likes of Steve Tyler, lead singer of Aerosmith. He raved about this album, and also Paul Stanley, lead singer of Kiss. He also raved about this album. So there was a lot of good reports about this band. It's just, of course, they released this in 1989. There was a lot of competition back then, so it was very hard. You already had the established bands who were riding high on success, like Guns N' Roses and Poison and Warrant and Whitesnake even, Motley Crue, all that. So yeah, Enough's Enough sort of struggled a bit, but they had a excuse me, but they had a big following. So yeah, that was 1989. Now we move on to 1991, and they released their second album called Strength. There we go there. Now it was the same lineup as well. There's another picture of the band. And this album didn't really do as well as the first one. The only singles was Mother's Eyes and Baby Loves You. They were only but they didn't really do too much in the American Billboard charts. But they're a really catchy band. They wrote some really catchy songs and decent lyrics. They weren't just childish, party type lyrics. That they had a maturity to them. But unfortunately, after this album, Strength, they had some problem with their management. I don't know. I've read a few things, and it's a bit confusing. But their management went broke or something, and the band had to file for bankruptcy or something like that. So they really. Just trying to find the words, had a lot of bad luck because everyone was raving about them. And when I mean everyone, even Rolling Stone magazine. Now, the Rolling Stone magazine has been around for decades, and it's a very well respected magazine throughout the world. You know, it obviously showcases bands and gives interviews and everything like that. And they actually said that Enough's Enough would be the next big thing in 1991. But as I said, due to poor management and what have you, they just, they didn't get the success that they should have got, because as I said, they had catchy songs. And they even appeared on the Dave Letterman show. David Letterman, who was the famous American talk show, late night talk show, he raved about the band, and the band actually played on his show a couple of times. The American DJ broadcaster Howard Stern, he raved about the band. So there was a lot of people, you know, really raving about the band and really saying great things about them, but just bad luck, bad timing, and also in regards to bad timing, of course, the grunge scene was, you know, in the early 90s, so that didn't help things either for this band. So yeah, it's a bit of a shame that they didn't get the success they should have, because I reckon maybe if they started off a few years earlier, they would have got that success. Look, they've released quite a few albums after 1991. Now, up until now, the only person in the band is Chips Enough, the bass player, and he's actually taken over on lead vocals. Donny V, he was the lead singer. He's doing his own work now. He's been in and out of the band, and he's had issues as well. Now, in 1993, Vic Fox, the drummer, he suddenly left the band and he joined Vince Neil's solo band. Now, Vince Neil is the lead singer of Motley Crue. So when Vince Neil left Motley Crue, or when he got thrown out back in 1993, Vic Fox, the drummer, joined Vince Neil's band. Yeah, so but the actual album after this one, it was released in 1993. The album, not this one. It's called Animals with Human Intelligence. Now, I had that album, and I'm kicking myself that I don't have it anymore, because it was brilliant. It was a brilliant album. I can't rave enough about it. Now, I've been searching high and low. I can't get it here in Australia, so I've got to. As soon as I got the money, I'll try and track it down from overseas. But Animals with Human Intelligence was just an absolute superb album, but 1993 was not the year or not the decade for this kind of music. So, but just a band that really showcased, and they're good musicians. They're very good musicians. And actually, speaking of musicians, Derek Frigo, the guitarist there, his father was a violinist, and he actually played in the Italian, some symphony orchestra, in the Italian Symphony Orchestra or something like that. But he was a well-renowned violinist. So and on this album, Strength, Derek Frigo's father, he actually plays on a couple of songs on the violin, and it really works well. You wouldn't think a violin would work too well in a hard rock band, but it really does. Speaking of labelling, a lot of people have called this band sort of a bit of a psychedelic type of hard rock, but that they are different. That they are definitely not like Poison or Cinderella or Warrant or Skid Row. They've got a unique sound. It's very hard to put your finger on it, but it works well. It really works well, and as I said, it's just a shame that they had such bad luck, because they really could have gone on leaps and bounds. So there's enough's enough. Just a really good listening. Really good listening. You can't say anything bad about these guys. So there we go. Enough's enough. Now, the next album I'm going to actually attempt to do this again, is Motley Crue. Now, I tried to do it before, but it wouldn't work. But worked out a strategy how I can get it to work again. So bear with me, the Motley fans. I'm going to try and get this, well, the Motley Crue, because they were one hell of a band. they were unbelievable, Motley Crue. So yeah, I'll get onto that on Saturday morning, and hopefully we can showcase this great band. Yeah, so there we go. So there was Enough's Enough, another great band. So until then, I hope everyone's well and keeping in good spirits. And until next time, stay strong and keep on rocking. Bye-bye.